Hello.
Hi.
Hi all.
Hello. Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Hi. So let's get started. Let me just share my screen. Okay. So like yesterday, what we were doing was we were working on the lookup formulas, right? And we had explored VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, and like we were also exploring the COUNTIF, SUMIF functions that we had already done. And there were certain scenarios that we discussed, right? So we look up. I hope you all got a chance to practice on these lookup formulas that we discussed yesterday. Anyone any doubts on this VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP? And we also made it a little dynamic, right? So as in when we were working on the returns data set, so we were talking about that how you can make it dynamic in the context that if you want to have to pull up multiple data points for a particular IDs. So instead of writing the formula again and again, how you can write one formula and make that thing dynamic. So any question on that part from anyone?
Not exactly on the lookups. I just pasted two questions on the chat.
Sorry.
I have pasted two questions on the chat. The first one is,
Let's concatenate.
yeah, for the concat, I'm getting the output. Instead of using the ampersand that you showed us yesterday, I just tried with comma, it is working. Is it a good approach? I just want to know.
Sorry, what do you want?
No, instead of using ampersand, you used ampersand, right, yesterday?
Huh.
I just tried with comma and it seems to be working fine. Is it a good way of using the concat function?
So concatenate is a good function because it's just meant for combining the strings together. So you can use either concatenate function or you can use ampersand. Both of them will work.
Okay, because I used comma here, so
So comma will be required because if suppose when you give multiple values, right,
yeah,
you
yeah,
will
yeah.
have to put a comma.
Understood.
So for
Okay.
example, I have two names over here. One is Sachin and this is written Tendulkar over here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have to concatenate them, so you can say equal to this ampersand space ampersand this. This way you will get this, or you can use concatenate formula. You can say concatenate
Okay.
Sachin, comma, then you put a space, comma, and then this.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
in this formula of concatenate, you have to do comma only after the
Okay.
separation of
We
the
can
values.
also use the formulas, right? Comma. This will also work, right? In concat function, formulas is allowed to calculate something.
Formula is also you can
Yeah.
use the nested formulas. You can use
Okay,
that.
maybe I can try it. And the second question is, I was working with count A and count blank. By mistake, I typed a space bar, and it is also taking as a count.
Sorry, can you go
The
again?
space bar, by mistake, I have typed a space in one cell. It is also taken into consideration. Is that right? Count.
When you write space and one, right? Like if you write
Yeah.
this space and one, see it is ignoring the space right now. It is putting it as a number only. So
Okay.
space has been ignored.
And is there any way or any approach to take the count of only the unique values? Because if the
Only
value
numeric.
repeats, yeah, it is taking that count as well. If the value
No,
repeats,
no. Count takes it counts numeric only. Count is a function that takes numeric only. It doesn't count character data.
Sorry,
Count.
count, not count. Yeah, I just want to know, is there any way possible to get the value of only the unique values?
Only the values of
Unique values.
unique values. You will have to create a formula for that. So you don't have any direct formula for counting unique values. So
Okay.
directly you cannot do it. You have to do certain data transformations and then only you can do it. But there is no formula for unique values in Excel. So generally what people do is they copy the data, they remove the duplicates and then
Okay.
they count them. Like for example, if I have to count uh, basically like the unique products. So in
Mhm.
that case, I will have to I will copy them. I'll go to a sheet, I'll paste the names, I'll remove the duplicates. So
Okay.
that is how we generally do it because there is no direct formula for that.
Okay.
So I'll just remove the duplicates
Mhm.
and then what I will do is I'll count them up. So like that is so no, not to the formula.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is all I have. Thank you.
So now you know what we are going to do over here is now we are going to explore two functions, match and index. Now they are very important functions and they first of all we are going now these are two different functions that we are going to discuss, right? These are the functions that we use separately. Match is a different function, index is a different function. And then what we are going to do over here is we are going to use them together where we will see their implication that how they can be used as an alternative of the VLOOKUP, right? So let's get started on that. So first of all, I'll be starting with the function match. Okay. Now match, this is a function used to get the, this is a function used to get the position of a value in a row or column. Okay, like for example, I have some names with me. Let me just copy probably these customer names. I have these customer names with me. Okay. Now I have this list and in which I have 12 names. Now I copy this name. I want to find the position. So I say equal to match this name. This name is coming at which position? So I select the data over here. So if you will see this match function is something like it somewhere something looks like a VLOOKUP. You say first of all you have to find lookup value this, comma, and then you select this range, right? Like in this range that you have selected, you want to find its position. Then you say comma and exact match. Okay. So now you will see it gives that Raymond book is coming at fourth position. See, if you select this range, you can see that manually also one, two, three, four. It is coming at fourth position, right? So I get the output as four. That this name is coming at fourth position. So the position that you will get, it will totally depend how you have selected that range, right? Like for example, the same name, if I come over here and I say equal to match, I want to find this value, comma, lookup array. Lookup array means in which location do you want to find it. If you select this location now from here, right? If you see the selection one, two, three, now the position of the Raymond Bush bulb becomes 3, comma 0. Yani, that means exact match. So now it becomes 3. So if you will select the range from here, it will become 1, right? If you select this, now in that case it will be hash NA because the name is not available in that. So depending how you have selected that range, it is going to give the position at which that particular value is coming. I hope it is making sense, right? So please try this once, the match formula. Are you getting it? Okay. I know this formula just not, it's not that it will work in the, like in the column only. It will work in the row wise also. Like if your data is like this, you can transpose the data, right? You can just, when you copy paste the special values, you can transpose the data. If suppose the customer names are given like this, okay, the customer names are given like this. So in that case, if suppose I again have the same scenario that I have to find the position of this customer Raymond book, so I will say equal to match. This is the lookup value, comma. I will select this range, right? So if I select this range, now it is going to give me the position in this range also, right? I selected the range from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the fifth position. Okay. So this is how the match function is used. Now I would like to give you all a task. Okay. So in the returns tab, remember yesterday we were doing something where I said that for order IDs you have to find the segment, country, ship mode. Okay. Now can you all think of a way that how you can make this formula dynamic? That you should be able to find the segment, country, ship mode, even if these headers are not in sequence, how you can find this information over here for these order IDs. See, this one way we discussed yesterday that you can put the column numbers at the top. But this is not an efficient way, right? Because you are somewhere disturbing or manipulating the structure of the data, right? Because when you are adding an additional row, you are somewhere disturbing the main structure of the data. So without having this, right, without having this column, now can you all think of the formulas that how you can find, how you can make a dynamic formula that for each order ID the output should come in the same sequence. Like I should get segment, then country, then ship date, then ship mode, then like this. Please try this. Yep. Are you able to think of how can you achieve this? So you'll have to use VLOOKUP and match together. So how will you use it so that the formulas can become dynamic? Yep. Anyone? Let's try it. See, like if we go with this, should I give it a shot? Like, should I show you? You say equal to VLOOKUP. I have to look up this value, right? Comma, table array. Table array is something that is going to start from this column. Uh, from here up till, let me select it up till here, region. Now this is my table array, comma. Then I have to give the column index number, right? Now this is where the the main logic lies. Now I have to give the column index number. So column index number is something like, first of all, like for example, in my data requirement, I have to find segment. Okay, now I have to give the column number of segment. But if I will look out for that manually, that will become a manual process. So instead of that, don't you think I can make use of match? I can say over here match, look out this value, look up this value, comma, where it has to look up this value in this range from order date up till I'll select this range over here. Now I would have also counted over here like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then the segment is coming at seventh number. And my match is going to do the same thing for me. It is going to count that at what number segment is coming. So it will also give me the output as 7 only. So my job is done. And I'll put comma 0. And that's it. See, I get it. Now I just have to make sure that I have to freeze the things so that my formula works properly. So I'll freeze the column of B2, right? I'll freeze this range so that it doesn't change. In the match, I have to make sure that the row should not change. And then I have to make sure that this range should not change. That's it. So if you will now see, if I paste this from on the right, I get all the information. If I paste it down, I get all the information, right? So same VLOOKUP formula, but just the instead of giving the column index number manually, I am giving it with the help of match function.
Amit, can you explain once again?
Sure. See, so two things. Match functionality is clear, right? Match, how match is working. Okay. So if you want me to repeat match, I can do that also. So assuming that match is clear, see what I have done is I was using VLOOKUP to find the name of the segment for this particular order ID, right? For the order IDs, I want to find the segment, country, ship mode, and all this information.
Okay. Yeah.
So now what we do is, if I write a VLOOKUP, I will say equal to VLOOKUP. I have to find this value, comma, table array. Table array is this complete table starting from here to here. You can select as much table as you want, comma. Then you have to give the column index number. Now column index number is 7, right? Because if you count from order ID, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Segment is coming at 7 numbers. So if I write 7, comma 0, my formula will give me, right? So like for this particular order ID, that is 3822. This order that was returned, see, we can see the segment of this order was consumer. I can see it, consumer, and this is the same output that my formula is given. But the problem is for the same order ID, if I have to find the country also, and the country is this United States, what will happen is I will have to change the formula, right? If I copy the formula over here and I paste the formula over here, I will have to change the column number to 8. Correct? This is that way the formula is becoming static. I will have to change that number for each column. So in order to make it dynamic, this number that I'm getting 7, I am using formula of match over here. Match lookup value. I want to find the value segment where in the headers, right? Because match is a formula. Match is a formula which gives me the position of a particular value. I am saying, tell me what is the number of segment in this range, in this first row. So it will count from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is going to give me count as 7. Then I say comma 0, and that's it. So my formula is ready. Right? So within VLOOKUP, I have used match function to make my formula dynamic. Now is it clear, or still you have any doubts?
Yeah, got it. Yeah. Thank you.
And then now we just have to do the freezing part. So I'll just freeze the thing so that when I change the formula, so when I copy paste the formula on the right, so it should not create any problem. So please try this, all of you once. you able to do it? Shall I move ahead? So, the plus, shall I move ahead? Or are you trying it? So let's move ahead. See, now the next formula that I'll discuss over here is that is an index formula. Maybe I'll write it over there only. Right now, index is an interesting formula because what this formula does is, now this formula index, it gives the value at intersection of row and column. Okay, this is the formula that gives you the value at the intersection of row and column. See, like you all remember, you all would remember that the metrics that you had studied, right? Metrics that we used to study in mathematics. Say, suppose I have some numbers over here. Okay, now this is a matrix that I have. So now, if in this matrix, so how many rows and columns do I have? So I have 5 rows and 4 columns, correct? 5 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 rows and 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 columns, right? This is what I have right now with me. Now I am saying I have 5 rows and 4 columns. So now in this, if I say what is the value which is lying in third row, second column, what will be the output? What is the value that is lying in the third row and second column?
21.
21.
21, correct? I'll get 21 as an output. If I ask what is the value that is lying in fifth row, third column?
9.
9.
9, right? Fifth row, 9. So this is what you have done manually now. Now this is the same thing. I will get it from the formula. So if I come over here, I say equal to index. Okay. Now it is going to ask some, it is going to take some input from you. What is the array? My array is this. Okay. Comma. What is the row number? Now row number is 3. I say row number is 3, comma, column number is 2. Right? So you say that the output is 21. I get the 21 over here. So index is doing the same thing. It is basically giving me the value at the intersection of a row and a column. Okay. So please try this out. Just first try this manually. This basic formula. Just make any small set of data. And I have used one formula over here. I would like to tell you about that also. I use a formula. See, there are two formulas in Excel. One formula is called as RAND, right? RAND formula is something, it doesn't take any input. It just you say RAND and open and close bracket. What this will do is this will give you a random number between 0 to 1. See, it will always give a random number between 0 to 1. Every time you will refresh your Excel, it will give random number between 0 to 1. And then there is one formula that is random between. In this, what you can do is you can give a range that you want a random number between 1 to 40. So it will give any random number between this range. See, 11, 36, 16. It is always going to give any random number between that range. Okay, so that is the formula that I used to generate some random numbers.
Amit, for the index function, it's showing two. I don't know whether it's showing two functions actually, for array and for reference. What is
When
the
you're writing
second one?
this
For the
index
index
formula,
function. Yeah.
this one.
Yeah, reference. One second.
So this is, this is more like, this is, I'll be coming to, this is more like what offset function we have. So I'll be discussing that in that. There is an
Oh,
offset function, it is like that. So right now we will be following the above part.
okay. Yeah.
Okay, Deepa, you run it. Others, Divya, Harsha, Yashaswini, Lakshmi, I hope you all are able to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, if you've done it. So now again, I would like to give, now I will like that you all give it a thought. Okay, now see, because most of the formulas you will see that they totally depend upon the logic. So I'll copy this data. Let me paste it over here. Okay, now this is what I have. My data over here. Okay, see now if this is the matrix, just assume like that. This is the matrix that is given to you. Now, if you have to fetch this as an output, suppose this is the matrix, this is the complete matrix that you have. Okay, in this complete matrix, you have to generate this in the output using the index function. How will you do it? You can take a look at this data only, and you can try to tell me if I have to generate this in the output using the index formula. How will I do it? How will I get it?
So the row number would be 5 and column number would be 6. And we can select the array. That is, the whole table.
Right. So if I say index, I'll select the complete array from here, and I'll say comma. So row number you mentioned 1, 2, 3, 6, 5. Row number 5, column number 6.
Yeah.
I get the output. Okay. So this was the row number that you said, and this was the column number, and the intersection of this, it gave me Raymond book, the name that I was looking out for. Now, if you think it now from the match perspective, now the match will come into play. What was the column name? Customer name, right? The column is customer name. And what is the row? Row is the order ID. Okay. Now, if I give you, these are the order IDs that are given to me. For all these order IDs, you have to find the customer name. Okay. For all these order IDs, you have to find the customer name. Now, I will not use VLOOKUP. I will use index and match together. See, in the index, what I am doing is I am saying index. Now, this is the complete matrix. I give this complete matrix over here. Okay, comma. Now it is asking me in the index that after we give the matrix, what we have to give the second input is row number. What will be the row number? So tell me what should be the row number? If I have to find for this order ID, if I have to find the customer name, what should be the row ID? Yep. So this is the order ID. I think there is some mistake that I would have done. Let me do just a second. Let me just change one of the order IDs because otherwise it can lead to a problem. I think I pressed Control D somewhere. Let me make it 8. Okay. And let's make this also 8. Yep. Tell me. See, like, these are the order IDs. Okay. Now these are the order IDs that I have. For this order ID, for this particular order ID, what is the row number in this matrix? What is the row number? 2.
2.
Agree?
Two.
Row number is 2. And what is the column number? I have to find the customer name. Column number is 6.
6.
So if I come over here and I say equal to index, in this array, I say my row number is 2 and my column number is 6, and I hit enter, I get Sean Miller. I get the correct name. The output that I wanted. I get the Sean Miller over here, which is correct. But right now, all the things that I have done, they were manual. This 2 and 6, I have manually found it. But 2, this row number, I could have found it with the help of match. Will you agree? Because if I remove 2 over here and I write match, I will say match. Look out for this value where in this column, in this. So what this match formula will do, it will say, okay, let me find this order ID, the position of that order ID. So it says, oh, it's coming at second position. That is what this match is going to do. And I say again, comma, 0, exact match. My formula is working, correct? And now I have to make my column number also dynamic. Column number was, I had to find customer name, right? So how did you find the customer name? You counted from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The same thing is what my match formula will do. So instead of writing 6 over here, I will say match. What is my lookup value? My lookup value is customer name. I have to look out for customer name, comma, where do I have to look out? In this row. So I'll come over here, comma, 0. That's it. So now I have the customer name also. Correct? Are you all with me up till here?
Yes.
Right? Now everything is done. I just now need to take care of the freezing. Oh, I think I just write the customer. I wrote the customer name over here. I should have written it over here. So the slight change, instead of Q77, sorry, 799, it should be 800. Oh, it is. That's correct. I now just have to make freeze. I'll just freeze the array. First of all, the complete array, I'll freeze it. So freezing is very important. And then what I'm doing is I'm matching this row. So the column should freeze if I paste it on the right hand side. And then this has to be freezed. And in this case, the row number has to be freezed. I hope you are, I mean, if any case you feel that any single slightest of the thing is not clear, you can please, let me know there itself. I'll explain it again. If I now paste it down, I get all information. If suppose I change that I don't want customer name, I want customer ID. I have to make sure the spelling should be same, right? Customer ID. So I get the customer IDs, right? If I write a segment, I will get the segments, or maybe I can write the city over here because now any which ways I have made my formula dynamic, so I can paste this formula on the right hand side also. So I will get the cities also. Okay, so please try this out.
Amit, can you please show the formula once again?
So the formula by looking at it will look very little. I mean, you see a lot of numbers and dollars over here.
Amit, I need some clarity on the freezing part. Index the array you're freezing. Okay, got it. First match, you are trying to find the row number. So can you please explain the freezing part here in the match?
This one.
Yeah.
Okay. See, in this we were finding the row number of this order ID.
Yes.
Right. So
Yeah.
I said my lookup value is this.
Yeah.
And so in the lookup value, so what will happen is what I've done is I have freezed the column number because see, when
Yeah.
I paste the formula down, definitely the row number should change. But
Yes.
if I paste the same formula on the right hand side,
Column.
I should become J.
Yeah.
Column should not change. So that is why I have freezed the column only, not the row.
Okay, thereby you're freezing that range also.
So I'm also changing because because range was this, the range was this column, correct?
Yeah.
Now if I paste this formula down, if this will not be freezed, 778 will become 779 and
Yeah.
790 will become 791. So in order to make sure that the row number should not change, I have freezed that also. And
Okay.
because I will be pasting the formula on the right hand side also, I have to freeze the columns as well. Otherwise, I
Yeah.
will become J. So that is why problem will come up.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, and then a second match part.
In the second match part, what we were doing was we were finding the column number. Right? So I was trying to find what is the number of customer name or maybe what is the number of segment. So I said my lookup value is segment, the above value. That is J799. That is this value. Right?
Yeah.
Now, if I'll paste the formula down, so row number will change.
Yes.
799 will become 800. That will create a problem
Okay.
because then it will start finding whatever the value would be there. So I don't have to change the row number. So that is why I have freezed the row. And the reason I have not freezed the column is because I have pasted the formula on the right hand side as well. And in the right side, I had to find the city. So in that case, J should become K because now I have to find this value.
Yeah, while moving from left to right, the column changes. Okay.
Column should change. So that is why I have not freezed column. And range is again completely, it has to be freezed because this was this column, this row, sorry, from order ID to here. So if I'll paste the formula right, left, up, down, this should not change. This should remain as it is because this is where I'm finding the value. So I have freezed it completely.
Okay. Yeah, now I got it. Thank you.
Okay. I hope you are able to do it. This is something very important from the interview perspective as well. Like in the interview also, there will be these questions that will be asked. Like index match is 110% asked everywhere when it comes to Excel interviews. And today, I'll upload some exercises also for practice of all the things that we have done. Shall I move ahead? Now, this is again a question that you all will be doing. See, now I am giving you all a customer name. Okay, now this is what you all have to do. These are the customer names. For each customer, you have to give me which order did he place. You have to find his order ID. You have to find his order ID and you have to find his city. So can you please do this? For the customers, you have to find the order ID and the city. Yes, class. Are you able to do it? See, again, index myself. Like, this is the reason I'm giving you this question is to see the, the challenge that we had in VLOOKUP. So we are just overcoming that. Basically, in VLOOKUP, I cannot find the data from right to left. For customer name, I cannot find the order ID, right? But with the index match, you can do it, right? Because it's the game of row and column. So if you have to find the order ID, and this is the matrix, right? So what is the row number? What will be the row number? Row number will be the row of that customer name. Like if you have to find it for the Sean Miller, so row
Two.
number will be 2. And what will be the column number? Column number will be 1. So if you say 2, row number 2, column number 1, you are going to get this number. Correct? So that's the same thing we incorporate over here. If I say equal to index, this is the complete array, comma, match. What do I match? In the match, I will say lookup value. What is the lookup value? First of all, I have to find row number, right? Row number is of what? Row number is for customer name. So this is my row lookup value, comma. And where do I have to find it? In this, comma, 0, bracket close, comma. Now starts the column number. Column number is, again, I will use match. And what is the lookup value? Lookup value is this order ID, comma. Where do I have to find? Over here, right? Comma, 0. That's it. And now I've got that. Now I just have to take care of the freezing, right? So although you can do the freezing while writing the formula also. So once you all will get a little hands-on, you will be in an automatic position that you will understand that what and where to freeze. You will keep freezing right with the formula itself while writing it. So over here now, first of all, I'll freeze my complete. This is where I will freeze my complete the array. Oops. And in the match, I was looking for the row number. So when you are searching in the rows, the column should not change and the complete searching should not change. And same way over here, the row number should not change and the complete search should not change. Okay. So now if you see it, if you paste it on the right side also, so it gives you city. Okay. Are you able to do it, this part? So now with this, let's move ahead. So now this is what you have in the index match, right? Now these are the things that you do in the index match. So I think we've missed one formula. I just realized that was this formula, right? The HLOOKUP. VLOOKUP we did. HLOOKUP I think we did do yesterday, right? See, HLOOKUP also, it's just the same thing, although we do not use HLOOKUP a lot, right? It's the name itself as the name itself tells, it's like horizontal lookup. Suppose if the data is like this, right? Now the data is given in a horizontal way. Headers are like this, right? These are the order IDs, these are the order dates, shipping modes, right? This is how the data is given to you, right? Now if the data is given to you like this, now this is an example of HLOOKUP. Okay, like for example, if someone asks you, like for this order ID, what is the shipping mode? So I will say equal to HLOOKUP. Lookup value is this. This is the ID that I will look out. Table array. Now you will select the table array like this. Okay, comma. Now instead of giving column number, you are giving the row number, right? Suppose you have to find the what we were finding. We were finding the shipping mode. What is the row number? 1, 2, 3, 4, comma 4, comma 0. That's it. So now if you see, we are finding the data in this direction, right? We are finding the data in this direction. In the VLOOKUP, we find the data in this direction. In the HLOOKUP, we find the data in this direction. That is the only difference that you will find between VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. V is vertical lookup, H is horizontal lookup. Okay, now this we don't I mean, technically it's very rare you will get the data in this structure. Data always comes like you have the header names over here, and that is how the data is given to you. This way of data is very, very rare. So please give it a short once. Okay. Shall I move ahead? See, now I'm going to tell you one feature over here, like the formulas that we apply. Okay, so like see, largely the formulas that are the important ones we have seen, right? Like the text functions, logical functions, and the lookup functions, the date functions. So the important functions we have now already seen. Now just some of the important numeric functions, right? I will just like to discuss some of the numeric functions, the important ones, which are very simple, right? Like one is round function, and one I would like to discuss ceiling, and one floor. I won't be discussing much of them because we don't use a lot of these mathematics formula. Like some minimum average, we have already discussed that how we use it. So before I come to these functions, right? Because so maybe I can discuss these first. See, round function is something that you know that this is something that we use for rounding of the numbers. Like for example, if I come over here, I have the sales values, right? We have the sales values with us, sales values. Now these sales values, let me copy it, and let's not copy all of them, just a couple of them. Suppose these are the sales values that I have. So if I use a round function, see, round function is something that follows the rules of mathematics. So if I say equal to round, this is the number, comma, up to where do you want to round it? If suppose you say you want to round it off up to first decimal place. So if you will write 1, say it becomes 378, because I said that I want to keep it up till one decimal place. Now it was 9, right? And because now after 9 it is 7, so 7 will round it up and the number becomes 378. If you scroll it down, you will see now this became 502.5, 317.1. So everywhere the number has been rounded off to first decimal place. If you say you want to have the output up to second decimal place, you will see according to that the output is going to come second decimal place, right? If you don't want any decimal, you can write 0, so you will not get any decimal place, right? So as per the mathematical rules, it is going to round off the numbers, correct? Then we have a function of ceiling. See, there are two functions, ceiling and floor. Now these two formulas are like, complementary to each other. Like in the house, what happens is we have ceiling. Ceiling is at the top, floor is at the bottom. Okay. So what ceiling and floor will do is, suppose you have a number. Suppose the number is 5.7. Okay. Ceiling is something that is always going to round up the number. If the number is 5.7, the output will be 6. Even if the number is 5.1, it is still going to give the output as 6. Even if the number is 5.01, right? 5.01, still the output will be 6. So basically, when you have a decimal number and you apply a ceiling function on that, it is always going to round up. It does not follow any mathematical rule, right? So like if you see over here, this is 317.058 and this is 377.97. If I come over here and I say ceiling of this number, right? So if you just apply this, everywhere the number has been rounded up. And same way, if you apply floor, it is the opposite of that. It will say, okay, floor, this is the number, comma. If you say over here, it is going to 377.97, it becomes 377. 502.488, 500, it will become 502. So it is going to round down, right? And ceiling is going to round up, correct?
This round and floor somewhat similar, because if we give round with no decimal places like 0, it will be the same output as floor.
No, no. See, when you say 0 in that case, what it does is it applies the rules of mathematics. See, if you see this is the number 227.8. If you in
Okay.
this, if you say this number is 227.976, if I tell you that I don't want to see any round decimal place, you
Okay.
will see that the last number is 0.9. So it has made it 228,
Okay. Okay.
correct?
Yeah.
But if you will see in the floor, it is 227.
Okay.
Making
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. Getting it.
What is that significance part in that ceiling and floor functions?
Sorry?
You put one, right? Ceiling significance in that ceiling and floor functions, right? You put
Yes.
one for that. So what is that?
So, see, significance is basically, let me just try to define it for you. Just Sorry. So, so we were talking over here round and function over here. See, like if you come over here, right? So this function that you see, so this significance that we use, right? The significance is something that we use as in, it's like rounding down, like up to where, up to what point do you want, round that number to off. Basically, it's like, uh, so let's take an example over here. Suppose I have some numbers over here like 10. I have the number as, suppose I say that let's take the number as 36. Okay. And let's take the number as 660. Okay. And we can take the number as, let's take some number in decimal place, 5.37. And I can take the number as, so let's take the same number again. Okay. Now suppose these are the numbers that I have. And now see, significance is basically, if I try to tell you, like, like how would you like to round off the number? Like up to what multiple, right? Rounding down to, like, I can say multiple in fact, right? So how do you want to, up to what is the nearest, the multiple you would like to get this output to? Like for example, if I write significance as 3, see now just understand that floor is always going to take the number down and ceiling is going to take the number up. Okay. Now the number is 10. Okay. Now what is the nearest multiple of 3 to 10 on the lower side? The lowest multiple of 3 on the lower side of 10.
9.
9, right? So now if I come over here and I say equal to significance, or sorry, equal to floor, my number is this, and I write significance as 3, right? So 3 means the nearest number to the nearest number, a multiple of 3, where the number is 10. So output will come as 9. Okay, getting it? It gave me the output on the lower side. Suppose the number was 7. In that case, it will become 6.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Now the number was 12. It remains 12 because 12, the nearest to 12 is 12 only. Making sense?
Yeah.
Now if I put, suppose this number is 36. Now I want to find the significance with respect to 7. Okay, now if I say equal to floor, and this is my number and my significance is 7, what will be the output? 35.
35. Yeah.
Right? And if we make it the function as floor or ceiling, if I make it ceiling, ceiling means on the higher side. Now my number is this, my significance is 7. So what should be the output? The ceiling goes on the higher side.
42.
42.
42. Right? So you get the 42.
Okay.
Correct? And now what I did was I was using the significance as 1. Now 1 is something that we use it for the, like 1 is like it's like a whole number, right? Every number is a multiple of 1. So if this is 1, now if this is my number, what is the nearest multiple on the lower side? If I talk about 5.37, that will be 5 only, right? On the lower side, correct? So that is where I was putting 1 inside this. Making sense?
Yes.
Right? So if I say, because see, the nearest multiple of 1 when the number is 5.0, you will say 5 only. So if I say floor, this is the number, my multiple is significant number is 1, so that gives me 5. And if I put ceiling, ceiling takes the number on the higher side, so that will be 6. This is the number, comma 1, so that will be 6. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, got it.
So these are the numeric functions that you will be using most frequently, right? You have sine, cos, tan, theta, and all that we never use. So that doesn't make sense to discuss also to those functions. See, now over here, I'm going to discuss something over here. If you come to the formulas pane, right? If you come to the formulas pane, in the formula pane, you will find something called as this, the calculation mode, right? So what happens is in Excel, you have two calculation modes. Okay, one is automatic and one is manual. See, in automatic, what happens is like automatic is by default that we were doing any which way, the thing that we were using right now also. So calculation means, right, like when you apply any formula. So you have noticed, right, the formula, the calculation happens right away, right? The calculation was happening right the moment I was applying the formula, the calculation was happening. That is because my calculation option is automatic. It comes as in an automatic. That the moment you will apply a formula, the calculation is going to happen. Okay, so this is something that is self-understood, right? Now, I would like to tell you a use case. See, when you are applying a VLOOKUP on a very large data, right? Like when we were applying the lookup functions. So if you will apply a lookup function on a very big data set, okay, like for example, we applied some, we were applying these functions over here, index, match, and all. So what will happen is if you will apply these functions in a very big data set, on a very big data set, your output will not be that prompt. Okay, your output will not be prompt. Your Excel will take some time to do the calculation. Okay, if suppose you had a big data of 5 lakhs or 7 lakh customers, and over there you are applying a VLOOKUP or an index match formula or a sum if or a count if, Excel is going to take significant time in order to give the result. Are you with me on this? Because data is huge, so it is going to take some time to do the calculation. And what happens in Excel is use Excel shows you the performance over here. It will show you 10% done, 20%, 30%, 40%, 60%, 80%. Has anyone seen that? If anyone would have worked with big data sets in the industries, so you will see Excel shows you that the percentage of calculation done over here, that calculation 60% done, 70, 80, so that you can have a track that okay, it is going to take 4 or 5 minutes more. Okay, now you had to apply the formula over here and you had to apply the formula over here. Just think of the scenario, please just understand this, right? You had to apply index match over here, and then you had to apply the index match over here. And the data was huge. The data is huge. So when you will apply the formula over here, Excel will start doing the calculation, correct? Excel will start doing the calculation. And it is suppose it took 10 minutes. Now your formula is applied. Then you apply the index match over here. Again, the formula will be calculated and Excel will take 10 minutes again. So how much time did you spend? 20 minutes, right? 10 minutes over here, 10 minutes over here. So because Excel was taking time to do the calculation. So don't you think it's like a wastage of time, right? So what we do is, if you think the data is very huge and Excel is taking a lot of time to calculate, what we do is we change the calculation to manual. Manual means then that when you will tell Excel, then the calculation will happen. Okay, like for example, now I have changed this to manual. Okay, I have changed this to manual. Now let me show you. Over here, this is the number. These are the sales number. Okay, let me apply function. Let me apply round function, ceiling function, and floor function. I say equal to round. This is the number. I want to round the number up to, suppose I am saying 1 decimal place. Okay. I want to apply the ceiling function on this. Significance is 1. I apply this over here, and I want to apply floor function on this. Significance is 1. You see everywhere the numbers are coming same: 378, 378, 378, 378, 378, and 377. Only first number is calculated, right? Rest numbers are not calculated. Why so? Because my calculation is manual. Manual means now I will have to instruct Excel that calculate now. Now if I calculate, now the calculation happens. All the formulas that I applied, now they are calculated. So if your Excel takes a lot of time, so what I can do is I will put it in the manual mode. I will apply all my formulas. Then I will say, then I will ask Excel to calculate it so that I don't have to keep sitting after every formula for 10 minutes. I will apply my formulas. I will click on calculate and all the formulas will be calculated in one go. So that way I will be saving my time. Making sense? Nislas?
Yes.
Okay. And if you will see, there are two options. One is calculate now, one is calculate sheet. See, when you click on calculate now is going to calculate all the formulas on all the sheets. Everywhere, all the formulas will be calculated. But when you click on calculate sheet, the formulas only on that sheet will be calculated, not on the other sheets. If suppose you applied some formulas over here, you applied some formulas over here. So if you will click on calculate sheet, the formulas of this sheet will be calculated, not the formulas of another sheet. So that's the difference between calculate now and calculate sheet. Okay. Well, so with this, I think we'll come to pause for today, right? So a lot of some stuff that we have done. See, the major heavy chunk of your Excel is done. So tomorrow, we will be starting off with the pivot tables. We will see how to work with the pivot tables, and then we will be seeing how to work with the charts. Okay. And today I will share some more assignments and the exercise on which you can work on. I'll upload them on the Google Classroom and you can pick them from there. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's all from my side, class. So see you all tomorrow then. Right. So
Thank you, Amit.
Thank you.
Thank you for the session. Bye all.
Bye bye.